Hi, second grade. We're going to talk about your grammar skill today. The first thing I'm going to introduce are adverbs. And then I will stop and I'll introduce the next concept, which is prepositions and prepositional phrases. Okay, adverbs sounds a little bit like the skill we just did called adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe a noun, person, place, or thing. And adverbs are words that describe a verb or an action. So adverbs often tell more about a verb, and they can answer questions like how? How did they do something? When did they do something? Or where did they do something? So I've got a couple different examples of sentences here that are similar on your paper in your first pack. The sentences answer the word how. So I did these in the first two questions. It says, the bird chirped loudly. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hunt for my verb. I'm going to see where the action word is and circle it. So what did the bird do? The bird chirped. The bird sang, made noise, chirped. So I'm going to circle my verb. And now I'm going to ask, how did the bird chirp? The adverb is telling us how he chirped. He chirped loudly. So I'm going to underline it. I'm going to write that adverb on the line. Adverbs oftentimes end in ly. So if you see an ly word, that is usually an indicator that that is an adverb and it's describing the verb. Number 2 says, the kids ran quickly. I'm first going to hunt for the verb, so I'm looking for the action. What were the kids doing? The kids ran. That's an action. How did they run? The kids ran quickly. They ran quickly. Quickly is an adverb describing how they ran. So I'm going to go ahead and write my adverb on the line. And once again, that ends with ly. Okay, now for these next two sentences, these are going to answer questions of when and where, which you will find later on in the week in your packets. So we have, yesterday I went to the store. I'm going to hunt for the verb first. Where's the action? Yesterday I went to the store. What did I do? I went, which is a form of the verb go. And it doesn't tell me how I went to the store. Does it tell me when I went to the store? Yesterday I went. Yesterday. So yesterday is the adverb that tells us when we did the verb, when we went. So yesterday we went to the store would be our adverb. And number 4 says, he stood next to me. I'm going to hunt for my verb first. Where's my action in that sentence? What is the boy doing? He stood, which is a past tense of stand. He stood next to me. Does it tell me how he stood? No. He stood next to me. Does it tell me when he stood next to me? No, it doesn't say yesterday or last week. Does it tell me where he stood next to me? He stood next to me. So next shows the position. It tells me about where he stood. That is my adverb. All right, that is adverbs, and then I will go ahead and tell you about prepositional phrases next. All right, second grade, so part of your grammar skills, like I mentioned before, have adverbs on them, and then part of them have prepositional phrases. You will find this at the bottom of most of your grammar pages, and there will be a couple questions at the bottom of your grammar test this week. Prepositions are words that can tell when or where, and they are usually next to a noun. So these are some of the common prepositions that you will find in this week's grammar pages. We have in, during, about, at, from, with, to, and by. So these are words that tell when or where, and they come before a noun or a pronoun. A prepositional phrase are words that start with one of these prepositions and then end with a noun or pronoun. So I'm going to give some examples from these sentences, and I'm going to show you what the grammar pages are going to ask you to do. So it says, number 1, the teacher stood by the door. So I'm going to look here to see which word is a preposition in this sentence. I see the word by. So the prepositional phrase would be by the door. So I'm gonna circle the preposition by, and I'm going to underline the short phrase or the short group of words that starts with the preposition by and ends with the noun door. So does that tell me where this teacher stood? The teacher stood by the door. Number 2, we went swimming with our cousins. The first thing I'm going to do is hunt for the preposition in this sentence. I'm going to look here in during with. So with is my preposition. The prepositional phrase are the few words following that preposition. So who did we go swimming with? We went swimming with our cousins. So I'm going to underline with our cousins. Number 3, our family stayed inside during the storm. I'm going to look for the preposition. You can look back on your grammar papers too to check which words are the prepositions. I see during, so I'm going to circle the preposition during, and then I'm going to underline the phrase or the group of words that comes after it that ends with a noun. So our family stayed inside. When did they stay inside? During the storm. That's the whole prepositional phrase. And last, number 4, it says, I picked flowers from the garden. I'm going to look for my list of prepositions and I see the word from. From, I'm going to circle the preposition. I'm going to underline the group of words afterwards. Where did I pick my flowers? I picked them from the garden. All right, that is what you are going to be working on your grammar pages. Go ahead and just make sure that you hunt for your prepositions first. In the sentences you have, your prepositional phrases will be at the end of the sentence. But in real life, sometimes they could rearrange a sentence and you could say, during the storm, our family stayed inside. So prepositional phrases don't always have to be at the end, but they will be this week for you. All right, let us know if you have any questions.